There are all sorts of rumors about Tanki Classic. For example, modern day augments will be part of the game. Now, this myth came about when it was announced that there were gonna be alterations in Tanki Classic. So, a lot of people ended up assuming that all of these augments and different status effects and whatnot, this stuff was gonna be added to Tanki Classic. But the thing is, that's not true. What they're gonna do is they're gonna add alterations, which basically means that you're gonna get a bunch of different mechanisms to use your turrets. For example, the standard hammer has 3 clips in one reload, right? So that could be 5 with the high capacity ammo clip alteration, or it could be 2 with the duplicate alteration. So there's not gonna be all that overcomplicating stuff. There's just gonna be different mechanisms for your turret, just so you can have a bit more diversity in the game. In other words, this is myth busted. Now we're gonna go over a lot of these rumors, and as the video moves on, they're gonna get weirder and weirder. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Before we go on to the next one though, welcome back to SHK 17's Month of Gaming, a series where I upload a new video every other day of the month. So to not miss out on a single one of these uploads, hit the subscribe button right now and let's get straight into it. Tanki Classic was never supposed to exist in the first place. Now, this rumor basically comes from the idea that it's simply way too late to release or announce this game, because people have been demanding old Tanki since 8 to 9 years, and at this point everyone basically gave up on it already. So like, why do it in the first place? That makes sense to you, right? Well, that's not just something that you and I think, that's what the Tanki developers thought as a whole. They were like, why at this point should we work on old Tanki when what we can do is just use the modern Tanki, improve it a bit and promote it to new players, which makes complete sense. But you know what? This happened.
It's a delicate process because we need to make sure it's going to work, and everything basically hangs on me, because if I'm gone, the classic is gone, because I'm the only guy who's trying to push all this stuff.
Oh, wow, really?
But like, you need to understand that this company is the production first company. Like the bulk of the company and the people who make decisions are the coding. They have a coding background, right?
Okay.
What they are looking for is the new exciting stuff, new technology. And I'm the different kind of guy. I'm the guy from the community. I was playing the game before they hired me, right?
Yeah.
So I was looking for the experience, right? It's kind of a thing. So the people inside the team, they're looking for the new tech, new ways, they exploring the Unity opportunities and stuff like that. And what I'm looking for is that just to make the old version of the game. So it took me a while. It's not like it's not like I'm the only one who's working on the project, which is not true, right? But I'm almost the only one who is pushing it, or have a power to make sure that it's going to happen and the people will be on board with it, because I'm responsible for the calculations. I'm responsible if the model is going to work or not. I will responsible for you will like it or not, because I'm the game design of the old version, right? And if I make the classic version, if you think about it this way, if someone other team will try to create the classic version, it will be happen the same that happened with me and the pirated versions. I will be looking at this, I will be saying this is not the classic, that's a bad game, and nobody will like that. So there's really a lot of things that hangs on me personally in this project. So I really hope it's going to work out.
So essentially, no one or almost no one in that development team wanted to move back to the old times. And there are a couple of reasons for this, one of them being that there were financial restrictions, and second of all, way too much effort for something that's just experimental. But anyways, they went along and did it, and now we're gonna get this game in like a few months. So yeah, that's good, but fact remains that this game was essentially never supposed to exist. So that means myth confirmed. Now let's move on to the next one. Tanki Classic will decline after the initial phase of release. Now this claim is made on the basis that since a lot of people have been anticipating old Tanki Online since a really long time, they're gonna play Tanki Classic, and at the beginning they're gonna have their taste of nostalgia, they're gonna relive the memories, they're gonna play the golden era of Tanki Online once again. But after that, once they're done with reliving their memories, they're gonna stop and it's gonna decline, because people will play it for some time but then they're gonna leave the game. And that's a pretty logical thing to say. But at the same time, we can't really forget the diversity of players that are being invited to this game. So it's not like they're gonna take 1 year from the prime years of Tanki and turn that into Tanki Classic. They're taking good aspects from every year of old Tanki up until 2019 and 2020. So all of those players in that phase, like of 10 years, are gonna gather and just play this game. And at the same time, there could be new players. Of course, like let's say for example, if I played this game 5 years ago and I loved that version and not Tanki Online, maybe I'd invite my new friends to play that old game with me. And I know this is a very specific scenario, but that does not change the fact that things like this will happen. New players will come. Secondly, the fact is, and there's no better way to put this, but the fact is that Tanki Online has always been an addictive game, especially the older version, like the Prime, as you would call it. So I can't imagine just people playing it and like having fun and saying, oh yeah, the memories are back, let's go, that's enough. I don't think that's gonna happen. Like people are definitely gonna stay. So that is point number two. Point number three is that if people only wanted to experience old Tanki for like 3 to 4 months, then Pro Tanki would not be alive. It was released like, I don't know, 2 to 3 years ago maybe, but people still play that, and a lot of people still play that. So the thing is, people not only want to experience the old game, they want to play the old game. So they're not just gonna log in and have some fun and go away. They're gonna log in, they're gonna make an account, and they're gonna grow on that account. So, in my opinion, this is myth busted. But of course, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments because this is a pretty debatable topic. With that, the next myth is that Tanki Classic was released to counter Pro Tanki. Now, firstly, this is a pretty fair assumption to make because Pro Tanki is basically a pirated old Tanki. So, the developers, it would make sense for them to just release a official old Tanki to counter that, right? But it's not really that simple. People primarily assume that, like, since quote unquote, it's been said a lot of times that the Tanki developers need money and they're all greedy and stuff like that. So, this assumption turns into the fact that they have released Tanki Classic because they want to earn the money that Pro Tanki has been earning from the old players. So there is a sense of competition, but actually this is all wrong. Fact is that Tanki Classic wasn't even made to counter Pro Tanki, it was just to provide an ideal version of old Tanki because they were like, look, all of you guys are trying to be what we were once back in the day, but you guys are just messing it up way too much. So Tanki was like, we're just gonna do this ourselves, and it's not like they're gonna profit off Tanki Classic too much or anything. They're just gonna provide some basic facilities, and all the money they need is the money that will be required to sustain the game. Nothing more, nothing less. So that's how it is at the moment. You can hear it from the guy himself.
When I was looking at this project, I was like, okay, my background is modding background. I was making mods for the game, right? Okay. So when I see someone taking someone else's job, I'm not that against it, right? I'm, on the other hand, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it, right? And what I see is they start to copy my decisions, which you can call flattering, but they start to copy my monetization decisions. Yeah, and I'd be like, well, what are you doing? You said it's gonna be a classic. You said it's gonna be fair. What are you doing? Yeah, and I was like, no. I have to do this myself. Mm-hmm. No, they doing it wrong. This is the wrong classic. This is not the classic. And the people who are looking for a classic and going to see it like this, and I'd be like, no, please don't remember the game like this. I need to do this myself.
Well, I'm sure you saw this coming, but this is myth busted. Moving on to the next, which is that old Tanki Online YouTubers will be coming back once Tanki Classic releases. Now, this is a pretty simple one to talk about. See, there were a lot of different YouTubers back in the day, ranging from Ufa and Claudio to Mr. Thunder to Shibe123. So there's a lot of them. Bluntly putting it out there, there's no way all of them are coming back because they are all in different scenarios. I've seen a lot of old Tanki YouTubers that switched to different games or just completely different content and they succeeded in that way. And there's people that just don't have any interest in the game anymore. For all we know, some of them are probably dead. You never know. So I can't say that the entire community is gonna come right back here. But what I do know is that some people may come back. For example, about a month or so ago, Mr. Thunder uploaded a post and it was basically a WhatsApp kind of a post. You know, when you're asking people like what's going on, how's Tanki Online going and so on and so forth. So you can see the screenshot on screen right now. I commented on that and I basically told him about Tanki Classic. By the way, this screenshot is from my comments history, not from the post because it's no longer public. Anyways, you can't see his comment here, but you can see my comments. So I basically told him about the game first and he replied with something that was positive or affirmative in a way. Like, I'm not exactly sure, but he probably said something like, I'll try it out, or something of that sort. Which is why after that, I replied with looking forward to it. So that's that. But this is just an example to give you guys an idea that all YouTubers will try out this game once again. So on that note, I can't say every YouTuber is gonna come back, but people are gonna come back to some extent. In conclusion, this is myth confirmed. Now moving on to the next one, the myth here is that you are not subscribed to this channel, which is myth busted because you're gonna hit that subscribe button right now. Before we move on to the next myth, I'll give you 5 seconds. Never mind, I'm not waiting 5 seconds. Let's go. We can't be wasting time in this day and age. So, the next myth here is that Tanki Classic will have no new updates. Now, this is no secret. A lot of you guys do know that Tanki Classic is being made in a way that it's gonna have all the good features from the previous Tanki Online years, but it's not gonna have any new updates or any unnecessary updates that no one asked for, which is what we've seen happen to Tanki Online in the past. But here's the thing. It's not that simple. So when you talk about new updates, what exactly are the updates that we're referring to? Are there not going to be events? Are there not going to be new changes? Are there not going to be new turrets or hulls? Well, these things have never been specified. So what actually classifies as an update, we don't know. Updates could be bugs and glitch fixes. They could be possibly like event modes. So since we don't know what updates actually are, then we can't just say that there's gonna be no new updates. For example, in Tanki Classic, they are most likely gonna add the April Fool gold boxes for the celebrations. And obviously it would make sense to do that because that's how things were in old Tanki. But let's say just to make things a bit more interesting, they add a few more variation to all of those gold boxes. Remember how there were like the monster kill gold boxes and 5000 crystals? You know, all of those variations, and you never knew what you were catching until you actually caught it. So what if they add a few more options to that? You know, a bit more diversity, maybe 7000 crystal gold boxes, maybe there's something else altogether. You know, you never know. So these things could actually make the game more fun, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is an update. So, you know, you can never say this is an update or this is not an update. There's no specific classification. So whenever someone says that Tanki Classic is gonna have no new updates, I'd say that's myth busted. Now moving on to the last and the most weirdest myth that I've come across, and that is that people say that Tanki Classic will be the reason Tanki Online dies. Now honestly, this makes no sense because you can't kill something that's already dead. Sorry, I'm kidding. Or am I? Well, anyways, point being that despite whether Tanki Online right now is dead or not, Tanki Classic is completely different. It's basically like something that appeals to, yes, some of the people that play modern Tanki, but most of the people that are appealed towards Tanki Classic are people that already don't want anything to do with the modern Tanki Online. So it's not like every person from Tanki Online will be stolen and taken to Tanki Classic. It's just gonna be like people are gonna try out what they like more and just stick to that. Or maybe you can play both of them at the same time, you never know. And of course, you can't turn a blind eye to the fact that they're trying to promote Tanki Online in the near future. So no way is it gonna run out of players to begin with. So yeah, that is that. This is myth busted. Now, if you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe for more videos like this. Comment your thoughts or any other myths you want me to talk about, maybe in a future video. With that, that's all from my side today. I'll see you in the next one.